Hey, Jimmy, how are you doing?
Doing well, Bob. How about yourself?
I cannot complain. It's good to be with you here today.
Good to be with you also.
So, what is the challenge that we're dealing with today, James?
The challenge that we're dealing with today, just staying positive. It's so important uh, to stay positive at this point in what we're going through. And we don't know when that moment is when we're going to get back to normal life. And it's imperative now that we think of all the good times we've had in the past and one of those situations at a time to keep a positive mindset. That is imperative at this point.
So, so talk to me about Principle 13.
Yeah, it's a powerful principle for sure. Talk about making a good first impression on somebody and what that could do for you down the road. I remember a situation um, in mind. It was my first year caddying down in South Florida, and it was our first ladies' day that I was a part of, and where the ladies go out and play. It's every Monday, and I remember standing by the caddy master, and he kind of pointed over to me. He said, "Jim, you're going to go with Mrs. Smith today." And one of the veteran caddies who I was close with kind of gave me a pat on the back, had heard what he said and gave me a pat on the back and said, good luck with her. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, she's a piece of work. You'll see. You'll see. And I said, okay. I didn't know if he was putting me on or what. So I said, we'll see if I could break the ice here. So I remember standing by her golf bag and Miss Smith walking over to me, and she was wearing this beautiful white outfit and with a very elegant hat, and which complemented her outfit. And I remember thinking, if she took the time to pick that outfit out of the store and also out of her closet, that meant something to her. So she's walking over to me and I'm standing there smiling. And I mean, she didn't even look at me. And I introduced myself. I said, "Hey, Miss Smith, I'm Jimmy." And she still didn't look at me. And I said, "Hey, I really like your hat. And it's very stylish and it complements your outfit. Very nice. You look good in that hat." And she smiled at me and she said, "Thank you, Jimmy." And from that point forward, the entire round, she listened to what I had to say, all the tips I gave her. We had a great time. I remember she gave me a tip at the end, and it was a really great day, and for a challenging person, from what I was told. So when you begin in a friendly way, the benefit we get from that is a listener and the time of day.
That's awesome. That's a great story to share. Have you ever been involved in a situation where maybe you are like the on the outside looking in, and there's two individuals that get into a heated argument, and when you go back to the genesis of the argument, it had nothing to do with the subject matter. It was just the way the engagement started. You
Uh,
know, that's something that always gets me, that there are so many of us that I think sometimes in our brains, Jimmy, we we play the scenario through in our heads, and And then when we engage somebody else, we're like 3/4 of the way into the conversation, where the other person is starting at the starting point or zero. And so we come in and we attack. And we have to really change that thought process to start in a friendly way. Just a smile, using a person's name, two ears, one mouth, using that proportion. There's so many ways that we can, not having our arms folded, things like that, where we can really help other people enjoy the conversation with us. Because we have to remember, this section of the principles are, getting other people to come along in your way of thinking, to gain that willing cooperation. And that's vitally important, that we begin in a friendly way. So when we look at the things that we've looked at, avoid the arguments, never tell the other person they're wrong. If you're wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically, and then begin in a friendly way. Some people would think that begin in a friendly way would be the first one of these principles, but it is the fourth. It's
Right.
the fourth principle, because you want to avoid the arguments first and foremost. Be aware of other people's opinions. Don't tell them they're wrong. And then if you happen to be wrong in a situation, be willing to admit it quickly and emphatically, and then begin in a friendly way. I just love the way that Mr. Carnegie put them together in his book, because it's not the way we are as human nature. We would think, well, the first thing we have to do is begin in a friendly way. It's more or less going away from what we're used to. And I think that's the key to some of these principles, is that we get so used to doing them human nature that it makes us think. And the 21st century terminology is pivot. That's the cool in word right now, right? I think Mr. Carnegie was pivoting in 1912, and we just didn't call it that. But a lot of the things that he teaches us were pivots in 1912. And so just a different way to look at it. Your final thoughts, Jimmy?
Yeah. And I mean, you nailed it on the head there, Bob. And also, not only does this principle work with people that you just first encounter, first impressions, like that was for me, the example I gave, but also you can begin in a friendly way with anybody, people you already know. You could always start fresh and say, the past doesn't matter. Let's start fresh. Let's begin in a friendly way. Let's improve this relationship. Let's start this conversation off on the right foot and begin in a friendly way.
Well, I appreciate that, Jimmy. It's great having you here today and sharing some time with you. Stay safe. Pandemic, social distancing, and everything else that is going on in the world. I like the fact that we get the opportunity to connect with people all over the world. I was talking to a gentleman in Mumbai this morning, and I hope he's here on the call. And if he is, welcome to my friend in India. And I had one of my connections with down in Brazil that was with us last week, and hopefully he's here today also. So, we can connect with people around the world. If our heart is big enough, we can include everybody in our conversations, and we need to all begin in a friendly way. Have a wonderful day, Jimmy. You take care.
Thanks, Bob. You too. Thank you.
Bye.